Hello, Creative Gems. Welcome back to Creativity. And if you're new here, I'm Sandy. Today, I'll be showing you a variety of modern and glam lighting decor crafts, all inspired by Gallerie, starting with this Cirque pillar holder, currently retailing for almost $100, but my version will only cost a few dollars to make. This one comes in either silver or gold, and the one I'll be making today will be gold with a little bit of my own spin to it. To begin, we're going to need to build a base. I have this cute little wooden box from the Dollar Tree that I found. It's got the etching of a unicorn on the lid, but I'm not going to be touching that since no one will be able to see that when this base is done. I'll start by removing the label on the bottom of the box, and then I'll take the lid off and start embellishing it. I've got some leftover self-adhesive glass gems that I'm going to adhere to one side of the lid, and then that will become the front of the base. See how sticky this is? I love crafting with these gems because they're self-adhesive, so I don't even have to worry about any messy glue. And plus, they're made of real glass, so the facets on the gems are super pretty, especially when the sunlight hits them. Now, unfortunately, I only have a few more short strips of the glass gems, so I won't have enough for the remaining 3 sides of the box. But not to worry, because I have another beautiful trim that I'm using to bling out the rest of this lid. These are tiny little crystal rhinestone pieces on the trim, and I honestly think if you put this trim on any object in the house, it will instantly make that object look 10 times more beautiful. And I know some of you are going to ask, because I always see your questions in the comment section about where I get my craft supplies and embellishments, so I'll just put it out there again to check the description box down below for links to all my favorite craft supplies and embellishments. Okay, so now with all 4 sides blinged out, I'm going to go back in with a few more rows of the same rhinestone trim for the ledge of the lid. And the reason why I'm doing that is because this lid is going to be sitting upside down just like it is right now, flat directly on the table surface. So I'll want to bling out any exposed areas of this lid. And while I work on this, I would like to take a moment to thank you for tuning in to today's craft project. If you enjoy glam home decor and DIY crafts on a budget, please let me know by hitting the subscribe button. And if you like what you see today, please give me a thumbs up as well, so YouTube will continue to recommend my channel to other viewers like you. Now with the lid all blinged out, let's go ahead and focus on the rest of the box. I'm going to start by covering up the corner edges of the box with a couple of rows of the same rhinestone trim. And once I'm done this, you'll understand why. Okay, so I've got these cute little rectangular mirror tiles that I'm going to place onto the sides of the box. They're a little shorter than the box, but that actually won't matter because the lid is going to cover the opening of the box anyhow. I just need to make sure that I place the mirror tiles vertically and flush to the base of the box. Now, to adhere the mirror tiles to the wooden box, I've chosen to use Weld Bond. This glue is an all-purpose glue, and I quite like using it because it bonds well. It dries clear, and it doesn't have a strong odor like some of the other glues I've used. So I'll go ahead and apply some of the glue to the back of each mirror tile and secure them onto the wooden box. Now, if you're going to glue down the mirror tiles, I must warn you, do not do what I'm doing right now because I'm being way too generous with the glue. And you can see that there's a lot of excess that's starting to ooze out from the sides, which is going to be a bit of a pain later when I try to wipe it off. What works way better is to apply the glue directly onto the box and don't overdo it with the glue. In this case, a little will actually go a long way. As you can see, it's a lot easier to do it this way, but because I applied too much glue, I'm going to have to go back in later to wipe off the excess. I'm going to leave it for now though, to let the glue get a bit more tacky, because if I try to clean up the excess glue now, the mirrors are likely going to shift and we don't want that. So I'll continue to apply the mirror tiles to the remaining 3 sides of this box, and hopefully I won't have too much glue to wipe off later. And by the way, as you can see, the width of the mirror tiles was just enough that I could only fit 9 tiles across for each side, which meant I still had a few millimeters of exposed wood, which is the reason why I trimmed off the corner edges of each side with the rhinestone trim. I think by the time I finished the second side, I got much better at gauging how much glue to apply, so I think the remaining 2 sides will be much cleaner. It took about 20 to 30 minutes for the Weld Bond glue to cure and dry enough that I was able to scrape off the excess glue that was oozing out between the tiles, and the space is now looking pretty good. So I'll continue to sit this box upside down on the table. The bottom of the box is now going to be the top of our base. I'll want to continue embellishing this area of the box by framing each side with a row of the glass gems we used earlier. I think I have just enough left from my stash to frame this area. And while I work on this, comment down below with the words home decor and let me know if any of you have started to decorate your home for the holidays. And if you have, I would love to know whether you're making your own decorations or if they're going to be store-bought. For my home, I haven't actually put up my Christmas decorations yet. I'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks, and it will likely be a mixture of crafts that I have made in the past, along with some decorations handed down to me by my family. Either way, it's going to be fun, and it's really going to set the home up for a festive mood. Okay, so here's what our base looks like now. It's pretty much all blinged out except for the center, and that's where I'm going to place our next piece. This is actually a plastic curtain ring that came in a pack from the Dollar Tree. This curtain ring can be opened here, but we're going to keep this closed. Notice how there's a slight indent here at the opening. We're going to want to mirror that on the opposite end. To do that, I'm going to have to create an indent using my soldering tool. My soldering tool has a dial that lets me adjust the temperature, but I find that the lowest setting gets plenty hot, so I'm going to leave it at that. And once I plug it in, it heats up almost instantly, so just make sure you don't touch the tip with your bare hands. What I'm going to do is use the tip to melt a bit of the plastic until I have a small indent. Now, if you don't have a soldering tool, you'll find a link to one below in the description box, but don't go out and buy one right away because you may find that the tip of your hot glue gun might do the job. My suggestion is to go slow because you definitely don't want your indent to get too wide. I'm thinking this looks pretty good. It's similar in size and depth to the opening of the opposite end, so I'm going to go ahead and test it out. Here I've got two metal rings from the Dollarama. I'm not sure how big they are, but I'm guessing they're likely about 12 inches. I've got a silver chrome one and I've got a gold one. And they each come with a circular hook at the top as well, which will make it super convenient for when I show you the chandelier we're going to make with this later. But for now, I'm going to take the gold metal ring and we're going to stand it on top of the curtain ring and see if it fits into the indent we just made. If the indent is too small, I'll go back in with my soldering tool to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's try this again. I actually think it fits perfectly now. Take a look at that. Before we secure the two pieces together, what I'm doing here is embellishing the curtain ring first because I don't want to leave it the way it is. It looks kind of plain. This step is optional though, so if you're not that into bling, you can skip this step. But for me, you know what I always say, the more bling, the better. So I'm going to go ahead and finish wrapping up this strip of rhinestone trim all around the outside as well as the inside of the curtain ring. And now let's insert the metal ring into the indents. It still fits, so that's perfect. To make sure it stays in place, I'm actually going to add a tiny bit of hot glue just so the metal ring stands perfectly upright. We want to make sure that it is stable, and the great thing about using hot glue is there's no waiting time because it cools and dries pretty much instantly. Now we're ready to insert a vase into the center of the metal ring. Here I've got a tall cylindrical vase that I found at the Dollar Tree, and it looks like it's the perfect height as I'm able to wedge it right into the center of the metal ring. It's also clear, so it will let a lot of light through. And by the way, this is not glass. It's made of a very thick acrylic, so it's really good quality, but also lightweight. And now we're ready to sit this on top of the base we just made. And here's the final look for our first piece. I chose not to place a candle inside only because I didn't find one that was the right size and tall enough. So instead I inserted some fairy lights inside the vase. I really love how the base turned out with the mirror tiles and the rhinestone trim. It just makes this piece look so exquisite as a centerpiece on a console table or a coffee table. Comment down below with the words home decor and let me know what you think. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how I recreate a version of this silver wall sconce from Gallerie, except my version will be hung from the ceiling instead. So once again, I have a second vase. This is the same size as the one we used previously, and what I want to do first is embellish the vase. I've got a couple of silver metallic placemats. This one has a flower-like design with lots of petals, and as you can see, the placemat is very flexible, so it will be very easy to work with. The second placemat I have is from the Dollar Tree, and it is made of the same material with a similar design, but this one is more of a mosaic design. It kind of reminds me of a spider web. Both placemats are pretty, and we could use either one. What I want to do is cover the outside of the cylindrical vase as much as possible with one of these placemats. I've got this wrapped all around the vase, and now I'm going to start securing it into place using some white zip ties. I'll place one in the middle and then I'll place one on either ends. And check that out. If I wanted to, I could actually slide the vase out and swap this placemat out for a different design or a different color. But I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to keep mine silver. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up, and then I'll go and snip off the excess zip ties. Since this vase is pretty narrow and the placemat was pretty big, you'll notice there's a lot of excess placemat sticking out, so I'm going to trim the excess as well. I'll also trim the excess off the top where the opening of the vase is. And since I don't plan on swapping out this placemat for a different one, I'm going to go ahead and add a tiny bit of hot glue underneath the ends of the placemat where it's sticking out a bit. But I'm going to make sure I don't overdo it with the hot glue because we don't want to see any unsightly clumps of hot glue on the vase. Now we can leave this vase as is, or we can go the extra step and trim off the opening of the vase with this chrome card trim. This card trim is U-shaped, which means you can open it up and then insert the rim of the vase into it. The inside of the trim is self-adhesive, so it will make it stick to the rim much easier. This chrome card trim has a mirror-like finish which will match the silver chrome metal ring, and I think it will give the chandelier a much more upscaled look when we're done. Once we get to the end, I'm going to snip the excess off. And actually, here's where I made a little boo-boo. I snipped the trim off too short and I didn't snip it at the right angle, so now I'm left with this ugly gap. But not to worry, first I'm going to apply a little bit of hot glue inside the trim so the ends don't come apart later. Next, I'm going to cover up that ugly gap with some silver trim. This one is quite pretty and it's also self-adhesive. I cut out a small piece and I'm simply going to place it right over the gap. And then to balance things out, I'll go ahead and add a similar piece of trim to the opposite end. With the gap fixed, I've also wedged the vase into the center of the silver metal ring, and now I'm going to go back in with some crystal acrylic garland strands. If you have seen some of my other DIY chandeliers, you'll know that I love crystal chandeliers. So I'm going to place a strand on either side of the vase just to jazz up the chandelier a tiny bit. These garland strands have silver jump rings, so it's going to be super easy to custom size the length of each strand and then hook them into place. I'm going to count out a total of 11 pieces for each side, and then to keep them in place, I'm going to add a tiny dollop of hot glue on the top jump ring so it doesn't slide down when we hang up the chandelier. And here's the final look for our second Gallerie inspired home decor piece. I hung a rechargeable LED light bulb and it's suspended inside the cylindrical vase. And with the remote, I can power on and off the chandelier anytime I want. I can even adjust the warmth and color of the light depending on the mood I'm in. How lovely is that? Comment down below with the words home decor and let me know what you think. Now on to the next craft project. This time I have a set of wooden embroidery hoops. This pack comes with a few different sizes. I've gone ahead and grabbed the largest one in the pack and painted the sides metallic silver. I also removed the silver metal plating so you can actually open up the hoop later. And now what I'm going to do is take my favorite silver rhinestone trim and trim up the rest of the sides. What I want to do is cover up any exposed wood area so the entire hoop is embellished. And while I work on this, I want to let you know that I actually post a lot of pictures of my home decor craft projects on both Instagram and Pinterest. So if you're not following me there, come check me out there as well. You'll find links to all my socials down below in the description box. With the embroidery hoop all blinged out, the next step is to make a base. Here I have a stopper plug thing from a snow globe that I got at the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure what the actual name of this thing is called, but it's the piece that you insert into the globe to prevent the water from leaking out. This stopper is pretty plain, so I'm going to go ahead and bling it out with a piece of silver rhinestone trim. Now I'm going to take the embroidery hoop that we just finished embellishing and I'm going to open it up. Notice how I also added some mini mirror tiles to the embroidery hoop? I'm just going to play around with the hoop to see how to best position it with the base. Actually, I think this looks pretty unique. I'll just place a small battery-operated LED candle inside. And here's the final look for our candle holder. How cute is that? I put my own little spin on the design and ended up making it my own. It actually looks beautiful placed on top of a mirrored tray, which by the way, the one you see here is also made by yours truly. And if you want to know how I made the mirrored tray, you'll find the tutorial for that on my channel as well. And here's another version of the candle holder. I have embellished another embroidery hoop that I glued down to a round silver base. That base is actually part of a plastic wine glass from the Dollar Tree. The set of wine glasses come in a 4-pack and the base actually comes apart. And here I've placed a silver tea light holder into the center and inside is a little tea light. How pretty is that? Comment down below with the words home decor and let me know which of today's Z Gallerie inspired pieces you liked best. And if you enjoyed today's craft tutorial, let me know down in the comments. And if you feel inspired, please like and subscribe to my channel and share with other creative gems. Also, remember to hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I have another DIY glam project on my channel.